With day one of the Democratic National Convention behind us, many notable speakers took the stage, including President Biden and many others. Throughout the night, many speeches were given by different speakers, but are you wondering how much of the things that were said happened to be true? Would you care to find out? Politifact decided to fact-check the notable speakers. But before we dive in, it is important to note that all credits for the fact-checking goes to Politifact and its chief correspondent Louis Jacobson, senior correspondent Amy Sherman, and their staff writers Samantha Putterman, Sarah Swan, Laura Bintucero, and Maria Ramirez Uribe. With that being said, here are fact checks of statements by a range of speakers at the convention's first night. It is very interesting, so watch it till the end if you are interested in learning the facts. Here we go. Abortion. Biden said, and Trump will do everything to ban abortion nationwide. Since April, Trump has repeatedly said he believes abortion legislation should be left up to the states. Trump also told reporters in April that he wouldn't sign a national ban. As president, Trump endorsed a 20-week national abortion ban that House Republicans backed. Earlier in this election year, he floated support for 15 or 16-week federal abortion bans, news outlets reported. Trump hasn't said whether he supports other ways abortion could be restricted across the country, including using the Comstock Act to ban mailing abortion pills or other equipment used in abortion procedures. Meanwhile, DNC created a video advertisement where Trump said there has to be some form of punishment for women who have abortions, which is mostly false. Trump made this comment during a March 2016 MSNBC town hall, but the ad failed to acknowledge that Trump walked back the comment the same day after facing criticism. Trump later on said, "It was doctors, not women, who should be punished for performing outlawed abortions." In the years since he made that statement, we found no evidence that Trump has repeated it or that he currently supports penalties for women who get abortions. Healthcare. Biden said instead of paying $400 a month for insulin, seniors with diabetes will pay $35 a month. According to Politifact, it is only half true. The Inflation Reduction Act, which Biden signed in 2022, capped out-of-pocket insulin costs at $35 a month for Medicare enrollees starting in 2023. Drug pricing experts told Politifact that most Medicare enrollees likely were not paying $400 a month before these changes, and research supports that. Meanwhile, one government estimate found that people with diabetes enrolled in Medicare or private insurance paid an average of $452 a year, not a month. Uninsured users, however, paid more than twice as much on average for the drug, or about $996 annually. Costs and other factors vary, experts said, so it is possible that some Medicare enrollees might have paid that much in a given month. Biden also said Trump wants to cut Social Security and Medicare, which is mostly false for both Social Security and for Medicare. In his earlier campaigns and before he was a politician, Trump said about a half dozen times that he's open to major overhauls of Social Security, including cuts and privatization. More recently, in a March 2024 CNBC interview, Trump said of entitlement programs such as Social Security, "There's a lot you can do in terms of entitlements, in terms of cutting." However, he quickly walked that statement back, and his CNBC comment stands at odds with essentially everything else Trump has said during the 2024 presidential campaign. Trump's campaign website says that not a single penny should be cut from Social Security. On Medicare, Trump has said during the 2024 presidential campaign that he will not cut the healthcare program for seniors. During his presidency, Trump released 4 successive annual budgets that proposed cutting Medicare. However, experts are divided on how much those cuts would have hurt beneficiaries had they been enacted. Immigration. Biden said, "The result of the executive action I took, border encounters have dropped over 50%. In fact, there are fewer border crossings today than when Donald Trump left office." This is mostly true, but Biden's data needs context. Illegal border crossings in July were lower than in December 2020, Trump's last full month in office. But experts caution against attributing changes in immigration to a single policy. The executive action, which limits people's ability to apply for asylum at the southwest border, took effect in June, so it's unclear whether the declining trend will continue. In July, Border Patrol encountered migrants crossing between ports of entry at the U.S.-Mexico border about 56,408 times, a 52% drop from the approximately 117,900 in May. From October 2020 to January 2021, Trump's last few months in office, Border Patrol encountered immigrants illegally crossing the U.S.-Mexico border about 71,200 times on average. In December, Trump's last full month in office, there were 71,140 encounters. Crime rates. Biden said, on Trump's watch, the murder rate went up 30%, the biggest increase in history. This is only half true. The number of murders in the U.S. rose by 5,795 from 2019 to 2020, when Trump was president. That's a jump of about 35%, making it the largest one-year increase since such data began being systematically recorded in the early 1960s. However, crime data analysts generally attribute most of the reason for the murder spike to a confluence of the coronavirus pandemic and the social upheaval following George Floyd's murder, not Trump's actions. Economy. Biden said the average semiconductor industry salary will be over $100,000 a year, and you don't need a college degree. This was mostly false. The average salary in the semiconductor industry is around $170,000, according to the Semiconductor Industry Association, a trade group, and Oxford Economics. This figure includes all jobs within the industry, and not only those that don't require a college degree. The most a person makes without a four-year degree is about $70,000, according to a 2021 report from the Semiconductor Industry Association and Oxford Economics. Biden also claimed that during his tenure there has been the smallest racial wealth gap in 20 years, which is only half true. Biden referred to 2022 Federal Reserve data that showed a modest decrease in the wealth ratio between white and black Americans. For every $100 the average white family had in wealth, the average black family had $15.75. That was the smallest gap in 20 years. However, economists use two measures to assess the racial wealth gap. By a different measure, the dollar amount difference in wealth, the gap widened between white and black Americans to its largest disparity since 1989. Biden further stated, "We have 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what their average tax rate is? 8.2%, which is completely false. Today, the richest Americans pay an effective tax rate of more than 20% on the income the government counts under the current tax code. Biden's 8% figure compares their tax payments with an amount that includes income that is not currently taxed under law. This makes it a theoretical figure, not something anyone is supposed to pay under the law." Trump and the rule of law. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said, Trump fell asleep at his own trial, and when he woke up, he made his own kind of history, the first person to run for president with 34 felony convictions. It's unclear whether Trump fell asleep during the Manhattan trial that ended with the former president found guilty on all counts. The New York Times' Maggie Haberman reported that Trump appeared to nod off a few times, his mouth going slack and his head drooping onto his chest. But Trump and his team have rebutted the he was sleeping claims. Trump was found guilty on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in a scheme to cover up a hush money payment to adult film actor Stormy Daniels before the 2016 presidential election. The U.S. Constitution doesn't prevent Trump from running for president following his conviction. Convicted felons have run for president in the past. U.S. Rep. Jamie Raskin, a Democrat from Maryland, said Trump calls for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those in the Constitution. This is true. In 2022, Trump said on Truth Social that election fraud could be the basis for the termination of rules found in the U.S. Constitution. We rated Trump's statement "pants on fire." Trump on Truth Social said, "A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Our great founders did not want and would not condone false and fraudulent elections," Trump wrote. "There is no mechanism for the termination of constitutional rules because of undesired election results." Days later, Trump sought to walk back his words, posting again on Truth Social, "The fake news is actually trying to convince the American people that I said I wanted to terminate the Constitution. and called it disinformation and lies. Project 2025. U.S. Rep. Joyce Beatty, Democrat from Ohio, said Senator J.D. Vance has been busy writing the foreword to the book from the Project 2025 guy. This is true. In June, before Trump selected him as his running mate, Vance, a Republican from Ohio, wrote on X that he was thrilled to write the foreword for Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts' forthcoming book, Dawn's Early Light. Marketing materials for the book also feature Vance's name on the cover as foreword author. The Heritage Foundation led Project 2025, and Roberts, who has promoted the work, has often been described as the project's leader and architect. The Trump-Vance campaign has sought to distance itself from Project 2025, and Vance has said Roberts speaks neither for him nor the campaign. IVF. Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat from Illinois, said, "Want to have a child but need IVF? Too bad, that's shut down, too under Trump." This is false. In February, the Alabama Supreme Court ruled that frozen embryos should be considered children, prompting some clinics in the state to pause in vitro fertilization treatments. After backlash, Alabama lawmakers passed legislation to shield IVF providers from civil or criminal liability, and clinics resumed treatment. Some Republicans in Congress say they believe life begins at conception and that fertilized eggs should be granted full rights and legal protections. But Trump hasn't embraced that position. On April 8th, Trump released a video on his abortion position in which he said that abortion legislation should be left to the states and that he supports making it easier for families to have babies, not harder. That includes supporting the availability of fertility treatments like IVF in every state in America, Trump said. Trump continued by saying, "I strongly support the availability of IVF for couples who are trying to have a precious baby." The Republican National Committee's 2024 platform, written by appointees of the RNC and the Trump campaign, supports states establishing fetal personhood through the Constitution's 14th Amendment. But Trump doesn't include this on his core promises list. Experts believe if established by legislation, fetal personhood would provide legal rights to embryos and fetuses and could curtail the practice of IVF. COVID-19 pandemic. U.S. Rep. Robert Garcia, Democrat from state of California, said while schools closed and dead bodies filled morgues, Donald Trump downplayed the virus. He told us to inject bleach into our bodies. This was mostly false. At a 2020 White House press briefing, Trump asked William Bryan, a Department of Homeland Security undersecretary, to study whether ultraviolet light could be effective inside the body to treat COVID-19 or whether disinfectants could combat the virus by injection inside. After Bryan said his lab did not study disinfectant injection, Trump clarified that using disinfectants would not be through injection. Trump later told reporters he was being sarcastic when referring to injections. Garcia's statement contains an element of truth. Trump did suggest studying these possibilities. However, Trump never instructed Americans to inject disinfectants to combat COVID-19. Well, we reached the end of Politifact's article, which is also the end of this video. Hope you like this video and its content. Once again, all the credit for this video's script and the all fact-checked material goes to Politifact and its chief correspondent Louis Jacobson, senior correspondent Amy Sherman, and their staff writers, Samantha Putterman, Sarah Swan, Laura Bentucero, and Maria Ramirez Uribe. If you liked our video, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Catch you next time.